Everything Gwenny, and today it's Foodie Friday. Let me just turn you a wee bit here. I think the dog might have knocked me in my process. Hopefully that's good. I'll just have to move some stuff closer. Today we are going to do a quinoa-cranberry stuffed acorn squash, except I'm not using acorn squash because we went to the farmer's market and I grabbed a bunch of squash. I've gotten, I don't even know what they are. I think this is like the turban squash. I like this one. We got a spaghetti squash, which I like, but this is for something else. And we got some sweet potato squash. So that's what you see here in this bowl is sweet potato squash. I've already cut them in half and seeded them, or de-seeded them. So they're ready to go. I've got the oven preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius, but I'm sure you could use Google if you need Celsius. And I'm just going to mix up the marinade or glaze or whatever it is for this. I'm going to do two different kinds. I'm going to do a vegan one for myself, and I'm going to do one with some meat for my husband and the boy. They're trying to add weight because they're both skinny little muhas. My new word, muhas. And I am the opposite, and plus meat bothers me, so I try to eat it as less as possible. And so since this does have a good vegan option, I'm going to go ahead and do the vegan option. So the first thing I've got my measuring cup here, so I'm going to whisk together some vinegar, some oil, and some maple syrup. So the first thing I do is add 2 tablespoons of, I'm like not even reading this, 3 tablespoons of the vinegar. So as you've seen in other videos, this is my apple cider vinegar. It's the Bragg's Organic. So I'm going to go ahead and add 3 tablespoons in here. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so that's that. And then 2 tablespoons of oil. So again, we have the 100% extra virgin olive oil, cold pressed. So 2 tablespoons of that. So 1, 2. And then we're going to add in the maple syrup, and we use 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. So I just have this 100% pure maple Canadian syrup. Just kind of, it's sometimes a little finicky to open. Oh, today it was being my friend. Today it's being my friend. 2 tablespoons. So 1 and 2. And so I'm just going to seal this all up and put it off to the side so it's out of the way. And I'm just going to give it a quick little stir with this measuring spoon. And then put the spoon in the sink and then whisk it. And then I forgot my little brush, but let me just get it. Sorry about that. My little brush. I'm going to give it a little rinse. Alright, and then basically I'm just going to move the fork out of the way. And I'll move it here so you can see it better, hopefully. We're going to glaze the flesh side, and then we're going to turn it over and glaze the other side. So, that's it. So this is just to help keep it a little bit moist when it's baking, and to add a little bit of that flavor as well. I don't usually use maple syrup. I usually just use like the oil. Usually I'm actually more of a coconut oil person. But I'm following this recipe to a T, so I'm trying to be good. So just go ahead and marinate. So I had 3 of these sweet potato squashes. So that's going to give us 6 servings, so 2 for me and 2 for each of the boys. So I'll make 2 vegan ones and 4 with the meat. So basically all I'm going to do is once I'm done making mine is I'm just going to fry up a side of, I think beef. I pulled something out of the freezer. I can't remember if it was beef or turkey or chicken. I think it was beef. And then I'll just add it to their mixture. Okay, so then I do that, and then you just sprinkle a little bit of salt over them. And then just a little bit of pepper. says like a few grinds, but it's kind of hard to get a few grinds unless you've got like a pepper mill, which I do not. All Alright, so when that's done, ooh, that's really good. And then we turn them over, flush side down, which is the way you're going to bake them anyways, and then you just kind of do the outside. So let me just flip them. The tricky part's going to be getting them to like sit in here properly, because it is a bit of a tight fit. This one's actually smaller. Maybe I can shimmy that up there. Nope. Alright, well, I think that's as best as I'm going to get here. It was sitting better when they were down, but I'm just going to wash my hands because, or at least rinse them because now they're all oily. And I'm going to rinse the fork off. Cool. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and do the same thing to the outside. Just soften them up a little bit. Keep them nice and not dried out. This is one of my favorite squash, actually, the sweet potato squash. That, and I can't remember what it's called. I always call it kombucha squash, but it's not. I think they also do call that one the turban squash too, but it's like the one I showed you earlier, but bigger. Alright, well, I still have some left. I don't know if I use this again later. Well, I guess I can pour it in the mixture when I'm making it. I think actually I do that. Let me just double check before I move on to the next step. Yeah, I think I can. Okay, so now I'm just going to put this in the oven. It goes in the oven at 400 for 50 to 60 minutes. You can you can pork it with a fork. You can poke it with a fork, but I'm not going to. I've never done that, except for when I cooked it in the Instapot. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is. So 50 to 60 minutes. I'm probably going to do 60 because I have the 6 pieces. And at 400, and then that's done. And then we're going to go ahead and do the second part of it to create the stuffing. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this in the oven, tidy up and get the stuff ready for the next step, and I'll be right back. Alright, we're back and we're doing the second part. I've got the pan on the oven here. I've put in some of my MCT coconut oil. You can use olive oil as well as if you like, but I like to use the MCT. And I've got it on high just to heat it up. I've already got my onions chopped. So I'm just going to go ahead and get those and put them into the pan. It says to use 1 small onion. I always get the red onions, which are quite large. So pretty much when I make a meal, I usually use about 1/4 of an onion. So 1 onion usually does me about 4 meals. I don't like a lot of onion, so... And also this one doesn't tell you to add garlic, but as I mentioned previously, we add garlic to pretty much everything. So I've got that freeze-dried garlic that we like. And so I'm just going to go ahead and randomly sprinkle it in with the onion. Okay, now while that starts to cook, I'm just going to go rinse the 1 cup of quinoa so that it's ready to add. Okay, so that's just draining. Just going to turn this down a little bit to medium-high. Keep stirring it. And you just basically keep doing that until it's about, a nice brown kind of color. Golden brown, I think they call it. Soft and golden brown, about 6 minutes. Yeah, I never wait that long. I'll fast forward if it takes too long for certain parts. So if it just randomly speeds up, it's just so to get through the cooking process for you. Alright, and then I'm going to just add in my 1 cup of quinoa. Right in there. It's already been rinsed. You can see, hopefully, it's wet. I'm going to turn it down a little bit more. Slow it down, please, Rose. I'm gonna just, oh, I don't want to turn the fan on because it'll get loud for you guys. My dogs might get a little snaky because if it gets smoky in here, they get a little weird. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Keep stirring it up, and then I'm gonna start adding my spices in. Okay, so we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of salt first. So I've got the 1 teaspoon measurement, and I've got my nice sea salt here. I'm just gonna sprinkle the salt in. And then 1 teaspoon of curry. So I've got the Clubhouse curry. I'm really bad at putting you guys in frame. It is gluten-free. I checked to make sure when I bought it. In fact, I think they started adding a little logo to it somewhere, but, or is it just on the back? Yeah, it says on the back. Okay, so 1 teaspoon of curry. So those are the first 2 main spices that we add. Okay, and I'll stir that up. Oh, it smells so good already. There's just something about the smell of curry I like. I know some people really don't like it, and I would bet my husband would not like it, but he can't smell. He had his smell damaged, I think, in a football accident or something like that. Okay, now we're going to add half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Now sometimes I add more, but like I said, I'm trying to follow this recipe to a T to see how it goes. This is my first time actually making this specific recipe. I've done stuffed squashes before and stuffed peppers, but I don't want to overpower the cinnamon. I'm assuming whoever made this recipe knew what they were doing, and I can always adjust it the next time. Oh, I can already smell the cinnamon too. So yeah, I think that's going to be enough. And then 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. Now I don't have a quarter measurement, so I'm just going to guesstimate with my ½ teaspoon. And I'm going to probably underestimate because I don't like spicy. So that's about all I'm adding there. I'd rather be under than over. My husband likes spicy, but I do not. That's why he has hot sauce. If he wants anything spicier, he can add hot sauce to it. Okay, that looks really good. Can you see? Oh, look at the golden color of it. It smells so good. Oh my gosh, guys, it smells so good. Alright. Let's see if I'm missing anything here. I added the salt. Yep, until all spices are toasted, about 1 minute. So I'm just going to leave that for a second, and I'm going to go measure the water. Quiet, Callie, please. So it says to add 2 cups of water and then to bring it to a simmer. So here's my first cup of water. And then I'm going to add 1 more cup. And what I might do later, depending on how thick it is, I might actually add that leftover liquid from the marinade. Oh wow, this smells like, it smells like my oatmeal porridge. Alright, so bring it to a simmer, so let's turn it up a bit. Oh yeah, actually we do add the remaining maple mixture at the end, so that's good. So basically now we just keep it at a simmer and keep stirring it until the quinoa is nice and soft, so about 20 to 24 minutes. So I'm not going to make you guys sit through that, so I'm going to take a break here and I'll come back when we're ready. Alright, we're back. I forgot to mention that once it was done, you just put the lid on it and you take it off the heat for about 5 minutes, probably just to fluff it up. So that's what I did. So it's been about 5 minutes. I'm just going to go ahead and take the lid off. And of course I haven't turned the thing around so I can see what you guys are seeing. So give me a second so I can just make sure you guys are seeing this. There we go. Alright. So everything's in there. It's still a little damp, but that's okay. I think that's the way it's supposed to be. And then you add in 1 cup of loosely packed probably a little more packed than loosely, but I had a lot extra and I don't like to waste, of parsley. And I'm going to stir that in first because I want it to start to soften up and wilt. And then we add the rest of the mixture. So here's the rest of that oil mixture that I had, oil, vinegar, and maple syrup. So I'm just going to go ahead, so no wasting, yay, my favorite thing. I hate when you make stuff and you use like only a little bit. And then you add 1/4 cup of dried cranberries. So I've got these Ocean Spray 100% Craisins dried cranberries. I'm not a big fan of cranberries, but as I've mentioned a couple times, I'm following this to a cheese. So 1/4 cup, I'm just going to measure them out. I mean, there's a salad I like that has some great cranberries in it that I don't mind too much. So there's about 1/4 cup. Oh, my light's getting weird in here. What happens if I do that? I don't think that changes it much. Anyways, so I'm just going to sprinkle 1/4 cup in and stir it. And then the last step we have to do is to add, I think it's a cup of coarsely chopped pistachios that have been roasted and salted. So I'm still in the process of shelling them right now. It's taking me a little longer, but I knew it was going to take a while for this parsley too, because I don't chop it up very fine. Well, it said to coarsely chop it, not finely chop it anyways, but I'm just going to leave everything in there and put the lid back on and let it sit while I finish chopping up the pistachios. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. So actually it was only 1/4 cup, not a cup, thank goodness, because I could not imagine doing a cup of that. So here, what I did is this is coarsely chopped, but I just put them in a baggie and then I hit them with my meat hammer until they are coarsely chopped. I'm going to take it off and I'm going to pour them in. Well, I'm looking forward to this. Do you know what's funny? Before today, I've never had pistachios before. I don't know why, but I've never had them before. And I just had one while we were eating it. Or, sorry, I just had one while I was making them up and I was like, why haven't I had this before? It is so delicious. And it's pretty low fat for a nut, actually. I think it said it was 3 grams of fat per serving, which, like, hello, that's really good. I can actually have a serving of these nuts and not kill myself. So I think I'm going to stock up on more of those and that'll be a nice snack. So as you can see, it's all mixed together. I'll step out of the light so you can see. And now we just have to wait for the squash to be done, which will be in about 10 minutes. And then we'll go ahead and stuff them. So I'll see you in a few minutes. And that's it, guys. That's all there is to it. So the one here to the right is mine. It's vegetarian. And the one at the very back is mine. It's vegetarian. And then the ones here in the middle, the 4 here along the side here on the left, those are the ones with some meat in it. And you can tell that they look very similar. The meat, the ground meat mixes very well in with the quinoa after. You can barely tell. If I didn't know where I put them on the tray, I wouldn't know which one's which. I'm glad I actually did end up mixing the meat in for my husband and my son, because otherwise I wouldn't have actually had enough quinoa mix for this many. As it is now, I at least have some leftover of the mixture, but yeah, so that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please feel free to subscribe for more videos, and also follow me on Instagram and Facebook under Everything Gwenny. I hope you guys like this video, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day and enjoy your meal.